Now, the Ghanaians are outraged after the news of this particular traditional priest, Nomo Bokete Lawetru, who married a 12-year-old child, and that went viral. Now, on Good Morning Ghana earlier today, panelists condemned the act, calling for authorities to move in and rescue the girl.
If it happens in my constituency, I will not support it.
Really?
Yes, I won't support it.
Is it to suggest that there's no longer betrothal in your...
It should be one of the negative cultural practices that we have to do away with. We have to allow girls to grow, mature, and make their independent decision as to who they want to marry. When they go into the marriage and they are suffering, they know it's their own decision. I mean, they have that right. You cannot impose on a young lady the husband even before she becomes matured. That is absolutely wrong and against our laws. And so, like I said earlier, there are certain aspects of our culture that we all agree that they are outmoded, they are unacceptable, they are against our existing laws and cannot be practiced. And this is one of them. It used to happen many years ago. But we cannot continue as long as we have the current arrangement of laws.
Randy, you know in the past, it was easier for you what they call pioneering. If you commit an offense, right, and you have kids or children, you give the children out, possibly in settlement of your judgment debt or something. All those cultural practices have today been outmoded. And looking at the pedigree, the stature of Bobulomo, I strongly believe that he should lead a reform as to getting this. I'm happy that this thing has generated the needed publicity so that going forward, we can all come to a common ground. Our law do not allow this. So we can shape this culture properly that it does not happen. Where I sit, if you make any attempt that any of my 3 daughters age 12 should be given out to such a thing, there will be bloodbath. Right? There will be bloodbath. And I strongly believe that this is not what we need today.
Let's now get back onto the phone lines and speak to private legal practitioner Martin Pebu for more on this, looking at the legal bit of this. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us here on Newsbeat. Can you kindly walk us through the legal touch of this particular case?
Hello?
Yeah, hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for your time. I'm asking if you could share with us the legal bit of this particular case that has got everybody talking.
Okay, so the Section 14 of the Children's Act says that no person shall force a child to be betrothed. Okay? So the betrothal is a form of an agreement that a child is given out for future marriage. So there's an arrangement today that this child who is young, when I say this child, that's below 18, under the Children's Act, the age for marriage, whether you say customary marriage, engagement, or traditional marriage, or church wedding, is 18. There's no discrimination. 18. And then let's quickly add, we shouldn't mix it. The age of 16 is the age of consent for sex. So if a person has sex with a child, a girl who is 16 or above, it's not rape, right? But marriage is a different matter altogether. To marry, the age needs to go up to 18. So now, when it comes to betrothal, it's usually a child that's not up to the age of 18 that the families usually agree that let's give this child out. That is to say, when the child grows, then the child will marry the man that child is being given to. Now, but if you look at how the Children's Act is put it, the Children's Act is giving the child to a say by saying that the child cannot be forced to agree to a betrothal. So though it is not marriage, the classical marriage today, but it's a form of, we are giving you out for marriage in future, but the agreement is today. So let's read the act to re-emphasize the point.
Okay.
Section 14 of the Children's Act, 1998, Act 560, says, 14.1, a person shall not force a child, A, to be betrothed, you see, then B, to be subject of a dowry transaction, or C, to be married. So the law itself recognizes that there is a difference between betrothal and marriage, right? Yes, but as I've described, the betrothal is the person is young, not up to age of marriage today, but they give out, so to speak, speaking loosely, that, okay, we are giving it to Mrs. Simesi to marry you when you grow up. That's when you get to the age that you can marry, 18. But we are doing the transaction today, or the agreement today, that this is it. But now there is a difference. You see, the one that is usually done locally before this Children's Act regime was one that the child had no say. It's just the parents who agree. But now we are saying that there's a difference. The law is now saying that the child has to consent. So then the thing is that at 12, can a child consent? It appears to me that no, a child who is 12 years cannot consent to that type of thing. Maybe 16, I'm thinking. Now we are all reasoning around it. The reason I'm saying that 16 can do so is because at 16, at least the child has a right to have sex. Then I'm thinking, okay, if the law says somebody at 16 has a right to have sex, then perhaps can agree that, okay, in 2 years I can marry. So the key thing in this discussion moving forward for all of us is that can a 12-year-old agree to be betrothed?
Okay.
So we are agreeing that the law still recognizes that betrothal is part of our culture. But the new thing is that this child must agree. It's not just for the parents to say, oh, give, and then the other side say, yes, I take. The role of the child is what we should be looking at. A 12-year-old, it doesn't appear to me, can agree.
Okay. And also, it's been stated that this young girl has been groomed for about 6 years before even this happening. What will be the landmark thing? Because now the police says that the girl and the mother are in their custody. But what about the man? People are calling for his arrest. How should that be done?
You see, yes, by all means, we should investigate. I think a lot of the time when people say arrest, what they actually mean is investigation. Because, what's your name? Who am I talking to?
Desmond, yeah.
Desmond. Now, Desmond, me, Martin Pebu, I'm the one who went to court that there were certain offenses that were not granting bail and all those things. All I'm trying, and the Supreme Court agreed and struck down those offenses. What I'm trying to say in a word is that, hey, this arrest, let's not take it literally. A lot of the time when people say let's arrest, what they actually mean is that go into the matter. Bobu Ulomo is not somebody who can disappear. So just arresting is not what we are looking at, but that they should investigate. Ulomo is leading his people. I don't think there's somebody who is a flight risk. It's usually when the person is a flight risk, if the person doesn't have enough social, cultural, and economic attachment to Ghana. So let's say somebody, just a child, ordinary child who has nothing to his name, has not worked, doesn't own anything, etc., is not working and the rest. Then you say, okay, let's arrest, and then maybe the parents, you bail the person, etc. But the Wulumu is well rooted in Ghana. So the emphasis is not an arrest. When you arrest, you haven't done anything.
Okay.
We are talking about investigations. So yes, I support a call for investigations so that if it turns out that they really ask that the child be betrothed without the consent of the child, then we'll be looking at what the law says and maybe whether they will prosecute. Even if they don't prosecute,
okay,
the key thing is that with this case, we are all going to learn and draw a line under the sun that this should never happen. Henceforth, if you want to betroth a child, the key thing is that is the child old enough to be able to say yes or no? That's the key thing. So effectively, it looks like betrothal is out until, as I've said, for me, 16 looks more like it.
Thank you very much for your enlightenment this afternoon on this particular case. Lawyer Martin Pebu is a private legal practitioner speaking to us there for, on this particular issue.